You're listening to Ask an Economist from the Conference Board of Canada.
So this question asks very interestingly, with the economy having lost 3 million jobs over March and April this year, and of course all of that meaning a loss in wages and income for households, what does that mean for income tax revenue for the federal government, and how will the federal government recoup those lost revenues going forward? Well, I guess the quick answer is it won't be able to recoup those lost revenues. That income that would have been generated by all of those people working, those 3 million lost jobs, and in fact, we're talking about 15 or 16% of employment, and as much as 28% of wages through hours worked or reduction in hours worked. So it's a huge hit. And of course, we know that if we look at total government revenues, that's really federal government revenues were expected to run at about $340 billion in 2019-2020 prior to the COVID crisis, and income tax or personal income tax revenues were worth about half of that. So this is definitely going to be a huge hit to government revenues this year. And on top of that, of course, we know that the government is adding significantly to expenditures going forward with all of the programs, the support programs that we've seen put in place. In fact, right now, in terms of budgetary measures from the federal government, we're talking at about $152 billion in extra expenses. So unfortunately, I'm afraid to say those revenues are lost and those expenditures are very real, and that means a big deficit for the government that the federal government is going to be facing this year. We're thinking in the range of $200 billion or more this year. This is significant. It will add to the government's debt on going forward, and we'll have to finance that by issuing bonds and paying interest on that debt. So the government is able to do so. It is able to manage this bigger deficit and this bigger debt load over the future. But it will come at a price. It'll come at a price of higher debt financing costs, less ability to spend on other programs like transfers for healthcare to provinces, or cutting taxes, or other measures that the federal government might wish to put in place, like infrastructure, for example, going forward. So there will be long-term payback for this gap that we're living right now. Thanks for that question.